Shooting it raw?
Yes, shooting it raw. So the next one is let me evoke the beach for you. So it's a big bright sky with lots of clouds. There's wind, so there's the palm trees, very tall, and this looks very windy. There's a kind of almost like a reflection pool, but it's a pool with a lot of like deck chairs and everything that are at the level of the pool. So it's very, very tropical, beautiful. I'm trying to evoke feelings of you being like, this is not Montreal.
It is not. It's definitely not. No, that photo was taken in Mexico. It was a trip I took with my best friend for our 40th birthday. Her birthday is 2 days before mine, so we went together and we celebrated.
You're 40?
I am much older than 40.
Okay.
Oh, actually, was it? Sorry, it was our 45th birthday. It was for our 40th.
What, 45th birthday?
Yes. Yeah.
Are we the same age?
I believe that we are.
I thought you were 30.
Oh,
what are you
my goodness.
About? Okay.
Yeah, I'm middle-aged. I'm not ashamed of it.
You're beautiful, darling. You're totally beautiful.
Thank you.
You're lovely.
Thank you.
So Mexico, where in Mexico are we looking at?
That was Cancun, and it was the Club Med Resort. It was actually the first time I went to a resort. And I was never like a resort person. I was more of, younger. When I was younger, it was like the backpacking through Europe. And I absolutely love Europe and I'm dying to go back. But we wanted to take this trip to rest, relaxation, and a little bit of partying as well to celebrate our birthdays. And I discovered, I discovered the beach, and I honestly, I love it. It gives me, it re-energizes me, but it also, there's a calm when being on the beach and the ocean. And I'm a terrible swimmer, so it's not about swimming, but it's just that tropical environment. I love it.
Sure.
Yeah.
Okay. So how do we tie that? So some people have the bug of travel. Like arguably I do as well. Delian, my wife Delian, on our, I guess it'd be our 5th date or 4th date, we went to Thailand for 2 weeks. So everyone's just like, oh, you just met and you're going to go to Thailand for 2 weeks? And it's like, yeah. And everybody's just like, well, what happens if it doesn't work out? It's like, well, she'll go left and I'll go right. But our relationship was always punctuated by lots and lots of travel. And so why don't you talk about what is it about going into a new environment? Because, it's not, I would imagine Mexico is different enough from Montreal, but then you like going into Europe, to Europe. And so what is it specifically about travel that you miss the most and that really hits something deep inside you?
I guess I love learning about people, their cultures, trying different foods, and the architecture, just immersing yourself within that culture. So for sure, and a resort is not the real experience.
Yeah, of course.
For sure.
Of course.
That was more about, just having fun and resting but being on the beach.
Drinking.
But that being said, you still meet a ton of people from different countries, and I'm an extrovert, so I will chit chat with everyone. Yeah, we met people from, Europe, from Mexico, even talking with the locals who work there. Chit-chatting with them. It's great.
Sure.
Yeah.
So how do you rope your family into your travels?
My husband loves traveling as well. So there's absolutely no issue with that. And my kids love it too, to a certain extent. I don't think they have the same energy we do, say, on a trip to New York City, for example. We could just walk and walk and walk. That being said, they were younger the last time we went, and they get tired, basically.
So what was the youngest that you brought your children traveling with you?
That's a good question. For my daughter, we actually went to France. We spent a month in France when I was on maternity leave. So she was very young. She was like 7 months, something like that, I think, when we went.
Right.
Yeah. And then my son, we took him on some cruises to Florida. He even went with my husband to Europe without me at one
Okay.
point. So very young.
Well, okay. So I've been trying to line up different people to join me on the podcast,
Sure.
and the pillars of the conversations are either creative expression, service leadership, right? So what is it to be a service network leader? Conservation, so how to, sustainability and climate change and that stuff. And one is strong women. And so when I started the podcast, I'm only mentioning this now because this is what I did this morning.
Okay.
When I started the podcast, I had sent an invitation to Jacinda Ardern, the Prime Minister of New Zealand.
Wow.
And to be on the podcast. And her communications director was very, very kind and sweet and gentle, but I just said, just fuck off and you're not important, just whatever, which is fine. But then, so I wrote back today, and I was telling my daughter about it as well. And I'd shown her a photo that we had made of her in Auckland when she was like, I think 3 months old or 4 months old, very young baby. Yeah, so traveling with babies. What happens if somebody who's listening to this and who says like, dude, like traveling with a baby sounds like hell? What would you say to them?
Yeah, actually it can be very difficult. I mean, I remember flying to Europe with my daughter and she was like just sitting on me the whole time. And by the time we arrived, I was not feeling well, but I wouldn't trade those memories, those experiences for the world. Like, even though, yes, they were sometimes very difficult, but still those experiences, I think, form who you are, like not just me as an adult, but even my children, even though they were very young, but I still believe it, it builds character, it builds your openness to people, to the world, to different cultures. Yeah, it just builds who you are. So yeah, I would encourage people to do it. And no, it's not always easy. It's not.
I found the hardest with when she was not able to move, it was actually kind of okay. So you just have to keep her in your seat and bounce and all this stuff. But then once she was able to actually crawl around, she was doing laps within the plane, and which meant that we couldn't sleep either.
Yeah.
So we'd flown to Sri Lanka with her.
Oh wow.
And it was full on. And you have this little like wind up toy that just never stops, and both of us are just like
Yeah, I can relate.
Yeah.
My son has a ton of energy. He still does.
Okay. Matisse, why did you choose Matisse as a name? It's a regal name.
Oh, we were looking for a name that would sound good in French and English.
Sure.
Living in Montreal, my husband is Quebecois, and we like that name. We didn't want to choose something overly common either. Although it's relatively popular in France, I believe. But
oh, really?
Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
No, it's beautiful.
Yeah.
It's beautiful. My first Matisse to date.
Oh, okay. Very nice.
So let's move to the next photo.
Sure.
So is life really a gift? Really? Can you make every second count? That's the whole point of the podcast. So if you like what you've seen and you're inspired, because that really is my mission, then please give it a like, subscribe, and share.
Shooting it raw?
Yes. Shooting